the flat 1 mile oval in Phoenix, Arizona, all the way out here to the 1.5 mile high bank Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Welcome to round 3 of the USRL Nationwide Series, brought to you by Checkered Flag Interactive. Tonight we're looking at 150 laps here at the high banked Speedway in the Nationwide cars. I'm Stephen Moore, together with my partner Shane Doty, and we're here to bring you a thriller here. On pole right now, we've got the number 9 car of Ethan Lane at an average speed of 173 miles an hour. Outside row 1 in the 94 car is none other than Brittany Grimm. Starting inside row 2 is number 10 of Cody Wenson. Outside row 2 is number 8 of Eric Miller. Inside row 3 is Scott Sons. For the rest of the top 10, we send it over to Shane.
Starting 6th in tonight's field is the league owner, Mr. Brandon Smizer. And rounding out your field tonight, a very shortened field, the number 60 of Calvin.
And that will conclude it on what Shane has pointed out is a smaller field. USRL League, as of next week, is opening up for all drivers. It is an open league. You are free to join if you are available on a Saturday night here. So tonight we're looking at 7 cars, 150 miles. What do you think we should look for in this race, Shane?
Well, it's a mile and a half, and we don't have a lot of cars, so I expect hopefully some nice green flag racing. Obviously, it's Las Vegas, so there's usually the high side works, but if you can get your car set up to work on the inside line too, we could see some nice side-by-side racing, and hopefully these guys can put on a nice show for us tonight.
Absolutely. Last week at the 1 mile Phoenix International Raceway, it was a tough battle, and just a battle of the fittest among all the drivers. Only had 2 cars that managed to finish on the lead lap. The setup was very difficult and challenging for these drivers to hold on to. And here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, there's a lot more banking, surely, to hold them onto the track, as well as the weather seems to be cooperating a little more. It's 80 degrees, no wind to upset these cars, and somewhat humid day of 50% humidity. Lights are off on the pace car as we go into turn 3. Before the green flag, you talked about the second lane. What did you notice in practice? Does it seem like these cars are able to run side by side for long?
Definitely, it looks like some of these cars will be able to continue to battle side by side, and it just goes back to the setup in this that the USRL has put together for this car. It is a fixed setup, so if you can just wheel the car to your best ability, I think we'll see some great racing.
And as we come off turn 4, the pace car is going to turn off, and Ethan Lane's going to bring that Nick Del Campo Designs number 9 Chevy to the green flag, as we're green here at Las Vegas. Ethan Lane gets a good start, pulls onto the apron to try to pick up some ground. Brittany Grimm tries to tuck in front of the 10 to defend second spot as we go off into turn 1 here. There's a big bump in turn 1, and that seems like it's going to be a big trouble spot in the race. And as we go through 1 and 2, everybody seems to navigate it pretty cleanly as we head down the backstretch.
Ethan Lane seeing nothing but clear sailing in front of him, but a huge battle is coming together here for the second spot. Currently, Brittany Grimm has it, but Cody Wenson's trying to take it, and also you have Scott Sons up there as well in the number 7.
Yeah, both Brittany Grimm and Cody Wenson bobbled coming off of turn 4. Scott Sons is going to try to take advantage of that as going into turn 1. Got a nose underneath the 10, but he slides up a lane and he's going to lose that spot, as now the 8 of Eric Miller is going to try to contend going into turn 3 on the high side.
Brittany Grimm starting to put some space on Cody Wenson as things are starting to calm down here, and you notice that a lot in mile and a halves, especially with a lot of track and a lot of space and a lot of laps. These guys might just try and ride it out.
Yeah, it certainly is a smaller field. You got a lot of space to run right now, and it looks like most of the field is happy to run high through 1 and 2, as last week it showed that aggression early on did not pay off. We had a fairly large crash on lap 3, a few early cautions before the field was able to settle down and gets a green flag run, as right now Ethan Lane is just pacing the field right now over second place Brittany Grimm, as they're starting to get spread out now as we take lap 4.
Yeah, Ethan continues to pull Brittany Grimm, but don't look behind you, as here comes Cody Wenson. That last lap, he was faster, definitely faster than Brittany Grimm, and we'll see which lane he chooses to maybe try and navigate around the number 94.
Yeah, as going through turns 3 and 4, she puts it up about 2 car lengths off the white line as the 10 is committed to the bottom and coming down the front stretch. They're still nose to tail going into turn 1.
And really, especially a mile and a half is the key here tonight, especially at Las Vegas, a track that has an older surface and can be very hard on the tires, and especially the car. Tonight's probably the biggest key I want to point out is just going to be saving your tires, making sure that you can have a car throughout the whole run that will handle as balanced as it's going to be and create speed, and the best one who can do that tonight will definitely finish up.
Yeah, and right now it seems like people are trying to conserve their stuff right now as most cars going through 1 or 2 are still trying to avoid that bump. It seems like the longer we go down this run, the more they're trying to slide further up the track as the field's gotten pretty spread out. Right now the only real battle is still between the 10 and the 94 of Brittany Grimm, as now Cody Wenson has slid up through 3 and 4, and now he's running the high side through all 4 corners of the track.
Yeah, and I just want to point something out. If you're looking at the point standings, the current point leader, Pedro Oliveira, did not show up tonight, and Cody Wenson is only 1 point behind him. So Cody's definitely just looking to go out here tonight, get a nice solid finish, and hopefully increase his point lead on his part, and then he will be your new point leader.
And surely, as he's still battling Brittany Grimm, he's surely got to think that although he'll for sure have the points lead after tonight, he can try to do some damage, try to get around Brittany, and hopefully try to run down Ethan Lane, as right now he's checked out to a 3-second lead here on lap 8, as the rest of the field really is staying bunched together. It's just Ethan Lane who is still keeping that car wound up on the high side. He's really arcing it in through 3 and 4. And that's paying off right now as he's running laps about a half-second faster than second and third place right now.
Yeah, and if this race continues green, these drivers will have to come down pit road, probably toward the halfway point in this race, which would be around lap 50. And if you can, especially if this thing goes green all the way, if you can get on and off of pit road better than your competitors, that's really going to help set up the rest of your race. And definitely we're going to have to see how that plays out when it comes, but so far coming to lap 10.
Yeah, and these drivers are running a fixed set. Everybody has the same equipment under them. So right now it's just driver versus driver. Who can manage on the long run to save their stuff the best, who can on the short run be able to gain speed and take an advantage over competitors. Coming through turn 2, Cody Wenson finally was able to get under Brittany Grimm, and they're still side by side down the backstretch. They're both pretty unstable coming off the corner, and going into turn 3, Cody Wenson's going to put it on the white line, and he's going to be able to clear Brittany Grimm, as Scott Sun's trying to follow him through, tried to get a nose under Brittany for the 3rd spot. He's not able to get it done coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like Scott might have put that left front on the apron almost, and nearly washed up right into the left side corner panel of Brittany Grimm, and very lucky save there. They gathered it up, and Brittany's going back for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, she did. She tried to do the same move that Cody did on her the lap before. She can't get it to stick off at turn 2 though, and they're still going to be single file through turns 3 and 4. You have a pretty big pack right now between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Then back, the last car currently running is Calvin Troy in that number 60 Mustang. He's trying to hang on to it right now. He's running right against the wall. It looks like his car's pretty loose. We've seen other cars get loose. Looks like these cars might be, their handling might be changing the further we go into this run.
And all that battling a couple laps ago has only helped Ethan, and he's up to nearly a 5-second lead as the cars cross the start-finish line this time by to complete lap 12 and coming on to lap 13. And everything's definitely getting spread out now.
Yeah, Ethan Lane really has this figured out right now. He's still running at about a half a lane above the white line through 1 and 2. Still trying to avoid that bump. It seems like no car's really set up tonight to be able to try to go over that. Through 3 and 4, he isn't able to bring that car to the white line. Coming off of turn 4, he had to lift to avoid getting into the wall. He's running the apron through the tri-oval, and Right now, if second through fourth keep battling, they're really going to lose ground on Ethan right now.
Yeah, it looks like after Cody completed that pass, it's pulled about a half a second lead on the number 94, Brittany Grimm, and she is currently about 4/10 behind in front of Brandon Smizer, who has just gotten by the number 7 of Scott Sons. Brandon looking to move up here in the 4th spot.
Right now, most of these drivers did settle in after the first few laps. They managed to keep their emotions under them, and we have not seen a caution yet on lap 15. And it seems like now, if you've got a faster car, now's the time. You can't let Ethan try to get away. You got to make these moves, even if you didn't want to early on. As Brandon Schmeiser gets too high coming out of turn 2 and gets into the wall hard. Looks like there might be some fender damage on his right front.
Yeah, it looks like the number 10 at Cody Wenzel also got a smack dab of the wall there, and he's going to lose the 2nd spot to Brittany Grimm, and definitely going to have to see how that turn 2 wall affected both those guys' cars.
It looked like Scott Sons as well in that number 7 Chevrolet. Looks like he followed Scott into the wall and trying to keep it off the wall. He gets it dead sideways, has to go all the way down to the apron to save it, but manages to make a great save, keeps it going forward, and we stay green here.
Yeah, it looks like the number 94, Brittany Grimm, is looks like she's committed more to the middle lane, not the exact top lane, but she's definitely running higher than the rest of her fellow competitors as she takes the apron down the front stretch, and definitely, especially at Las Vegas, the lines are completely different. Usually the top is better on the tires, but the inside line's obviously the shorter way around, and that could produce great racing as we're seeing here for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, it seems to me like right now you're able to get side by side with your competitor, but these cars appear to be so loose coming off the corner that they aren't able to clear them coming off as he's watching down the front stretch. Looks like the bottom line, just because it's a shorter radius, has its advantage, but coming off the corner, Cody Wenson can get into the throttle much earlier than Brittany right now, and that's why they're still dead even for second.
Yeah, starting to see Cody move up from the middle lane, actually almost up to the 2 against the wall there as he takes the middle lane in 3 and 4. But interesting to see here is that time he's actually going to pull Brittany off the corner and might clear her, and he does.
And trying to follow through for 3rd place on the high sign, that is Brandon Schmeiser in the number 5 Chevy. And it looks like through 1 and 2 he might get it done as he forces Brittany Grimm to go over the bumps. Through 1 and 2, that causes her car to check up, but she is still fighting back on the low line. Still got a fender under him, and going into turn 3, they're still dead even as they are right on each other. Coming off of turn 4, they're still dead even for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, it looks like that damage to the number 5 is definitely not affected him as he goes by the number 94, Brittany Grimm, and Brandon Schmeiser moves up to the 3rd spot.
And Schmeiser cuts across her nose going into turn 2, makes it official, and gets into the wall coming off of turn 2. And Brittany Grimm's going to swerve low to miss him. They both managed to keep off each other. Very hairy situation there. As going into turn 3, she now slides up, and they're going to be 3 wide for 3rd now. Schmeiser through the middle has the advantage right now. He clears Eric Miller. He goes down to the apron trying to get around Brittany Grimm, and they're still dead even going into turn 1. He's going to put it right on the bottom line. Goes across those bumps, and he's going to clear her, but Brittany Grimm's going to get him right on his bumper coming off, and she gets into the back of him, slides up, hits the wall hard coming out of turn 2. That's going to damage her car severely right now. As you can see the crinkled fender, she's going to lose the 4th spot now, and now she's under duress for the 4th spot by Eric Miller.
Definitely crazy sequence of events there, and all of that allowed Cody Wenson to pull an entire 2nd on Brandon Schmeiser, and now it'll be interesting to see how Brittany's car reacts here with the right side damage.
Yeah, it looks like Schmeiser got ahead of her going through 1 and 2. Looks like she had a run on the high side. He slid up in front of her. It looks like she was trying to almost do a crossover. She gets into the back of him, and when she does, that causes her car to shoot up about a lane. She gets into the wall. As now for the 4th spot, they're still going at it coming off of turn 4. Scott Sons, who's ran him down by over a second, has a run on him. He gets into the wall going into turn 1. And that's going to let Eric Miller barely clear him through turn 2, as he's now trying to run down Brittany Grimm, who started that traffic jam coming off of turn 4 that last time. Scott Sons hits the wall going down the back stretch now, and they are nose to tail fighting very hard for the 4th spot.
Yeah, it looks like Scott Sons might have a better car than Eric Miller. Just can't find a way around him there. And anytime you get into the wall here, as you see Eric Miller go for the 4th spot, anytime you get into the wall, especially in the B car, it can definitely affect your handling and the overall downforce on this car, and I think Brittany's definitely feeling those effects.
Yeah, this battle's also letting Calvin Troy get back into the action. He fell back about 2 seconds from them earlier on, but he is managing to keep his car clean off the walls, and he's about to be challenging for the 4th spot, as again Brittany Grimm is going at it with Eric Miller for the 4th spot. Miller's going to clear her on the high side this time, down the front stretch. He's going to get about 2 car lengths going into 1 and 2. She's going to put it on the high side. He's going to go to the low side. And it looks like he's going to have the advantage coming off of turn 2. Nope, he gets loose again, and that's going to reel in Brittany Grimm again, as these cars cannot escape each other.
Yeah, Calvin Troy has now caught the number 7 of Scott Sons and is looking to the inside, possibly to take away the 6th spot. Calvin's been kind of minding his business, saving his tires, and now he's attacking as we're about halfway through this initial run.
Meanwhile, you aren't missing anything up front. Ethan Lane has pulled out to a 9.5 second lead. Cody Wenson, Brendan Schmeiser is holding 3rd with a 10.5 seconds back over 1st. And right now, the action on the track is between 4th and 7th place, as now Calvin Troy has moved into 7th, gets onto the apron going into turn 3, has to slide up in order to save it, and that's going to let Scott Sons on the high side have the momentum, and he's going to try to clear him for 6th now. As Calvin Troy on the bottom has the draft of Brittany Grimm, that's going to reel him in a little, and they're going to be even through 1 and 2. Calvin lifts a little, that's going to let Scott gain ground on him, but Scott slides up too high up the track, and they're still going to be dead even again going down the back stretch. They are just racing very aggressively as we come up on, we're approaching 45 miles complete out of 150 now.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you're battling, especially, you can see those cars starting to get away, and that's what Eric Miller has. He's pulled nearly 7/10 over Brittany Grimm as Scott pulls the crossover, puts it to the inside, and we'll see if Calvin Troy can come back on the outside.
Oh, and in front of him, Brittany Grimm gets very loose. She's going to check up the top sign. Calvin Troy's going to have to lift and forfeit that position, as now he pulls inside of Brittany Grimm, gets on the throttle, is able to clear her through 3 and 4, but floats up very high, gets in the wall hard, gets collected by Brittany Grimm, and he's spinning through the tri-oval violently. Brittany Grimm has front-end damage. She's onto the apron. Caution is out here on lap 29.
A crossover gone wrong. It looks like coming out of turn number 4, number 60 of Calvin Troy got into the wall, and it looks like he wasn't able to save it coming off the wall, and Brittany Grimm just an innocent victim again, and that's the second week. That's the second week in a row Brittany Grimm's been caught up in a wreck that was not her fault, and definitely a disappointing night for the number 94.
Yeah, it looks like Calvin Troy took a very shallow angle getting to the corner, did clear Brittany Grimm, but maybe was carrying too much speed coming off of turn 4, couldn't keep it off the wall. When he hit the wall, it caused him to check up. Brittany Grimm had nowhere to go, gets square into the back of him, sends him spinning through the infield. And those are the only 2 cars collected. It looks like they both have some pretty significant damage right now. For Brittany Grimm, her right front tires bent in a few inches. That, you gotta hope her pit crew is going to be able to fix that. Calvin Troy might actually have the lesser of the 2 most damaged cars. His left front is, or left rear, I should say, is pushed in very severely. But the car might be tracking straight as the leaders are on pit road now.
Pit road speed 45 miles an hour, and Ethan Lane leads them in. I would anticipate 4 tires. You cannot make it on fuel from here. Still a good 70 laps to go. About 65 when you get the green, so this will not be the field's final stops.
Ethan Lane hits his marks beautifully, as so does everybody further on back in the back. We see the right side going up on his car. Completed 31 laps here, so they're going to go ahead and change the left sides. Looks like all the cars are going to change left sides. The jack is dropped on Ethan Lane's car, and he's going to be the first car off of pit road.
Close battle for second. It looks like Brandon Smizer is going to come off second. Cody wins third. Scott Sens comes off fourth. Eric Miller fifth, and the rest of the two are on pit road getting crash damage repaired.
So caution's out here on lap 31, first one of the day. We are a third the way through this race. We're going to step aside for a commercial break. We'll bring you back for the green. Thank you. And welcome back to CFI's coverage of round 3 of the USRL Nationwide Series. Lights are off on the pace car. I'm Stephen Moore together with my partner Shane Doty. And the pace car is coming through turn 4. Ethan Lane's going to lead him back to the green flag here on lap 33. As the pace car makes that hard left turn.
Leading them down at 50 miles an hour is Ethan Lane. He's gone. Tough start for number 5 of Brandon Smizers. Cody Wenzel will use the apron to get around him and take away the second spot. And we're green.
Yeah, you saw the back end wiggle on that 5 car. He spun the tires, and that's what's going to cause him to lose the the second spot, as now he dives it right underneath the 10, trying to make up ground early. As further back, Scott Sons clips the apron, gets dead sideways, but manages again to hang on to it, and we're still green here as the battle for second continues through turns 3 and 4. Meiser is trying to get a nose under the 5 of Cody Wenzen. He's not going to be able to do it as we take lap 34.
Yeah, we're going to see as Cody was running in second before that caution came out. He looks like he has a pretty strong car, but Brandon, who had to come up through the field on that initial first couple of 30 laps, and now we're going to see the real deal is all these guys have 4 fresh tires and have another shot at it.
Yeah, and those, both Brandon Schmeiser and Cody Wenzen appeared to be fastest 2 other cars other than Ethan Lane, who is again proceeding to check out right now. And then between those two, those were the only 2 who were competing for the second spot, as they're still looking like they're going to go right back at it again. Back the battle between fourth, which we were paying very close attention to, seems to be a battle between only 2 other cars now. Eric Miller and Scott Sons are the only 2 who managed to get away from that unscathed. Calvin Troy has some left rear quarter panel damage, but it looks like his car's moderately up to speed. Brittany Grimm had some hard damage to her right front. Doesn't look like she's going to be able to keep that going at a good pace, as we're single file now as we head down the backstretch.
Yeah, I'm noticing that Cody Wenzen's actually keeping pace somewhat with Ethan Lane here. Ethan hasn't been able to pull out as big of a lead as he did the first run, and you got Brandon Schmeiser there too in the number 5, so definitely Ethan makes a mistake sometime through this run, and we're looking at a 3-car battle for the win.
Yeah, it certainly could be easy to get distracted right now. He has had nobody in his windshield, and once after a few laps, there's really nobody in his rearview mirror to have to worry about either. As right now, it's just a Saturday night drive for him now, as everybody again seems to be moving up the longer we go on these tires.
Yeah, and I pointed out earlier on that caution that these cars will have to come down pit road at least one more time, so they're not completely good to go on fuel. So definitely fuel strategy might come out as a big factor in tonight's event. Do you pit early? Do you pit late? Do you take 2? Do you take 4? Do you take no tires? Definitely, we'll see that strategy come into play here if we don't see a caution from here on out.
As Ethan comes down the front stretch, it's going to be 60 miles of 150 completed. So we're going to be about 90 miles to go on a tank of gas, which it's just so close, but it's just not enough to go in these cars. So further on in the run, you don't necessarily need to take 4 tires. You don't need to fill it up on fuel for sure. So that's a strategy that I'm sure some of these guys are looking at right now.
See Brandon Schmeiser trying to work that high line. Las Vegas, obviously somewhat of a multi-group track. Obviously with a fixed setup kind of limits your ability to run around the track. As you can see, Brandon sucking back up to the number 10 of Cody Wenzen, but Cody knows his responsibility tonight. Obviously, he's the points leader now that Pedro Oliveira did not show up, and definitely running second place. He's doing his job, but I know he wants that win just as much. As whoa, Scott Sons and the number 7. What a save! I don't think I've seen something like that in a while. Wheel in that car, and he somehow held onto it after getting loose off of turn 2.
It's the 3rd time off of turn 2 he's managed to hold on to it. That does not appear to be his favorite corner tonight at all. But again, even though he might not have it figured out, he certainly knows how to save it coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, it looks like he got into the wall off turn 2 last lap, and that kind of got his car a little twitchy and got him sideways, and was able to overcorrect it and make a nice save as Brandon Schmeiser has now just gone around the number 10 of Cody Wenzen to retake the second spot.
It looks like Cody was having trouble getting off the turns, as now Brandon Schmeiser has trouble getting off the turn. He has to lift. That's going to give Cody Wenzen the position now, as he's going to clear him before turn 1. Looks like both these drivers are having a lot of trouble being in the tire marks of the other guys. Now the 10 gets a little loose coming off the corner. The 5's going to give him some room getting into the corner, but he could have stuck it in there if he wanted to. I know it just seems like you can pass a guy, but as soon as you do, he's just going to pass you right back.
Yeah, crossovers, very usual here at Las Vegas, but I want to go back to when Brandon got out of the throttle there. Still very early in this race. Obviously, you want the car more than you want the position at this point, and I think that was a very smart move by Brandon. He felt himself getting tight. The car wasn't turning, so he let off the throttle, allowed him to gather it back up, missed the wall, and he fell back at third, but he still has a car that is capable of retaking that second spot. And overall, a heads-up move by Brandon Schmeiser.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that in previous races. Just finishing can sometimes result in a good finish. At Phoenix last week, we had a decent-sized field start, but a lot of cars got caught up in some wrecks early on, and just by finishing, we had a couple cars finish a few laps down, but still managed to squeak out a top 5. It doesn't appear like that's going to happen today. We have all 7 cars currently on track. Brittany Grimm is still trying to drive that car around. She's at a decent pace, but the damage to the right front is not going to let her be able to get back on the lead lap unless her crew can somehow manage to straighten out the toe. But yeah, certainly just a clean car means a lot in these races, as we've seen.
Yeah, as we continue to watch this battle for second between Cody Wenzen and Brandon Schmeiser, as Cody is now working the inside, trying to retake that second spot. The guys have been going at it pretty much since the start of the green flag on this run. And with a pit stop coming up, these guys definitely want to be in front of each other before they have to go out and peel on back onto the road.
And one strategy which you rarely see on 1.5 mile tracks and is more common on super speedways and road courses, ironically enough, but as soon as their pit window is open to make it all the way on fuel, you might see a few of these guys duck down pit road and just get a splash of fuel. You should be able to get out. Well, if you do fall a lap down, there's only one other car that is any laps down, and that's Brittany Grimm, who's 7 laps down. So even if a caution was to come out, you could still get the wave around and be good on fuel. So as soon as the pit window is open, we might see some cars duck down pit road. It'll also give them an advantage of being able to run in clean air, as these cars, both Brandon Schmeiser and Cody Wenzen, has just been going back and forth, and in that battling side by side, they've been losing a ton of ground on Ethan Lane.
Yeah, Ethan's pulled out to nearly a 5.5 second lead, as we are just 2 laps away from the halfway mark. And definitely, I know these guys, they might not pit right around lap 50, but I think around lap 70 would be a good compromise, because that's right in the middle of the run. That splits up this race into 2 segments, and that gets the most out of your tires. And if you pit this early, you're going to want 4 tires as opposed to like 2, because especially in the B car, if you have left sides tires that are more worn out compared to the right side tires, the car will begin to push, and especially at a track like Las Vegas, you will lose a lot of time if that happens.
And we've seen further back in the pack that a lot of these cars are really having trouble getting off the corner. We're seeing the Highline have an advantage just because these cars are so loose right now. If you did take 2 tires just for the sake of making it tighter, is that something that could benefit them for this race today?
Well, definitely 2 tires can benefit you. It can hurt you in different ways, but take Brandon Schmeiser, for example. He is battling the number 10 of Cody Wenzen, and he's been doing it pretty much since the start of this run, and 2 tires wouldn't be a terrible call. He would get out a good 5 seconds or so in front of him, but then again, you got to take into account as Brandon gets on the apron there. You have to take into account just how hard you've used those left side tires before you've come into the pits, because as I said before, worn out left side tires can easily help the car push, and then you'll start losing a lot of time to the leaders and your fellow competitors.
And certainly in the 2 cars that are not saving their tires right now is none other than Brandon Schmeiser in the 5 and Cody Wenzen is the 10, as again they trade positions. This time Schmeiser is going to go to second place as Cody Wenzen wastes no time sending it to the bottom through 1 and 2. They're going to be dead even, but right now Brandon Schmeiser, he tags the wall coming off of turn 2. He had the run, that slowed him down. Now they're still dead even going into turn 3. the high line, as we've seen, is the line that seems to prevail in these side-by-side battles. And coming through 3 and 4, Schmeiser has the run, manages to keep his foot in it, and he's going to clear him.
Definitely using that high line to power away from Cody Wenzen. And these cars, remember, are a nationwide car, and they do have a tapered spacer on that engine, and that will bring momentum and all that stuff into a premium. And if you can get that car to work up top like Brandon did there, you can definitely pull some pretty good horsepower off the corner, and that was one of the key ways he got around the number 10 of Cody.
And as we look at fourth position, the one car who hasn't been battling the entire run this time is Scott Sons, who did manage to burn off that right rear a couple times getting off of turn 2, but now he's just running by himself and actually making up quite a lot of ground right now over second and third spot. As he hasn't been racing aggressively like the second and third have, so it looks like as we come across for lap 55, he might have the better tires and be able to contend for second.
Want to pay attention to another battle going on in the back, more toward the rear of the field. You got the 5th place car, the number 8 of Eric Miller, trying to hold off the number 60 of Calvin Troy. Obviously, Calvin involved in that previous wreck. They were able to get that car repaired nicely, and he's up here still battling for the number 5th position, and we'll see if he can hold up here. And as he's at least trying to get around the number 8 of Eric Miller, who's had a solid night.
Yeah, it looks like the 60s car does have some speed in it as he gets right on the back of the 8 coming off of turn 4. Might have touched him, gets side by side with him, and into 1. Looks like he's going to try the bottom line. He's going to try to slide up, but Eric Miller won't let him. Eric's going to, on his quarter panel, and try to get a run down the back stretch, as still Calvin Troy has position going into turn 3. He's going to drive it in hard. He's going to clear him, and now as he slides up the track, he's going to manage to keep it off the wall, and that's going to be a change for the 5th position. Now he pulls in front of Eric Miller to try to block him. Eric Miller gives him the position, lifts a little, and that's your new 5th place is Calvin Troy.
Yeah, it looks like Calvin might have almost lost the rear end off 4 there. It was a nice job from gathering it back up, and Eric Miller, understanding that Calvin's a little bit faster than him right now, and he was kind enough to lift for him, and we'll see if Calvin can put some ground on Eric.
Calvin's crew did a nice job of fixing the left rear quarter panel during our first and only caution this race. They've managed to get most of it straightened out. I think the key thing, though, was that his rear axle wasn't damaged suspension-wise. So, as far as the crew was concerned, the only thing they needed to fix was the aerodynamics. And from my point of view, it looks very clean now.
Yeah, and definitely Calvin was faster than Scott Sons that last lap. And Calvin, if he can just continue to turn those consistent lap times and maybe pull a good pit strategy, he might be able to take the 4th spot away from the number 7 of Scott Sons.
Absolutely is going into turn 1. Battle we've seen all run is between Schmeiser and Wenzen. They're side by side again, as Wenzen's going to go back to 2nd spot. Schmeiser's going to use the draft going down the backstretch to get a run. They're both going to try to run the high side. Schmeiser's going to try to cut it across, trying to arc it into that corner. And it looks like the caution flag is out here.
Trying to find out where that might have been. I cannot find an incident on the track. So we rewinded it. Oh, we have found it. Looks like the number 94 of Brittany Grimm might have tagged the turn 4 wall. This looks like, and she slides into pit road.
Yeah, she finally wasn't able to hold on to that car as coming through turn 4. She barely touched it. Then looks like she had the wheel turned left. It hooked as soon as she got off the wall. Started to spin. She didn't fully get sideways. She hits the inside of the pit road wall, and that's what the caution is going to be out for on lap 60. So we got about 40 laps, 35 laps to go when we go green now.
Yeah, and these cars will be able to make it on fuel now, pending if they do pit under this caution, you will be good to go on fuel. So that throws out any green flag pit stop strategy, pending all these guys do take 4 tires and fuel, and Interesting, we might see 2-tire stops here, but I would bet completely on a nice 4-tire stop, fill the car up with fuel, and we can go racing again.
Yeah, as for Ethan Lane, it wouldn't make any sense but to take 4 tires. As pit road is open this time, and it looks like everybody's going to follow him down.
As they speed up coming onto pit road speed is 40 miles an hour again.
And now we're waiting for the long trek down to the first few pit stalls, as everybody's elected Joe stalls at the end of pit road. First to their pit box will be the 5 of Schmeiser, and now's the time to look to see if they're going to do any strategy.
Yes, and confirmed penalty, speeding, number 9, section 1 on pit road. That is coming onto pit road, a costly mistake for Ethan Lane, and he will have to go to the rear on the start. Definitely a costly mistake, as it looks close battle off for the lead. Brandon Schmeiser comes off the pit road in the lead. He will inherit the lead. Coming off second is Cody Winston, number 10. Third is Scott Sons. Fourth is Calvin Troy. Fifth is Eric Miller. And there you can see 6th, Ethan Lane, who will drop back to 6th.
Yeah, and of course, the whole run, the 5 and the 10 were side by side, so it makes sense that they'd be side by side coming off of pit road. We saw coming down to pit road what drivers frequently do is as soon as they pull down, they'll be maintaining pace speed. Then they'll give it a little bit of gas to try to get an advantage between them and second. It looks like Ethan Lane was trying to do that, but it looks like he wasn't able to slow it back down to pit road speed and time.
Yeah, and definitely costly mistake on his part, but you still have a lot of laps left in this race. Probably around 35 laps to go when we do get to green, depending if we get the one to go here or not. But Ethan certainly has time. As you see, Calvin Troy actually coming down the road. I think this will give Ethan the 5th spot. But when you got a great car like Ethan does, definitely patience is going to be key for him as he comes up through the field, and this might make a very interesting battle for the lead.
Absolutely. So your new leader here on lap 63 is none other than Brandon Schmeiser. We're going to step aside. We'll have the restart for you after this.
Welcome back to Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of USRL. This is round 3 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're getting ready for a 36-lap run, possibly to the end. Ethan Lane got speeding on pit road. He was your leader. Your new leader now is the number 5 of Brandon Smizer, and he will lead the field down to green alongside the number 10 of Cody Winston.
And pace car makes a hard left turn. This is the only lead change of today as Brandon Schmeiser is going to take the green and get a great start over the 10 car, who looks like he spun the tires on the start. Ethan Lane's going to waste no time whatsoever. He's challenging for second already by turn 1.
Yeah, the number 9 Ethan Lane goes from 5th to 2nd in less than 1 turn almost as he clears the number 7 of Scott Sons and now sets his sight on the number 5 of Brandon Smizer as the field heads into turn 2.
Yeah, Ethan Lane, despite getting an EOL penalty. Oh, as Schmeiser gets sideways off of 4, he spins it down to the apron. Caution's out. That's your leader who is spun onto the apron here on lap 65. A huge shakeup. That's going to give the lead back to Ethan Lane as a single car spin for Brandon Schmeiser is what's going to bring out the yellow here.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little bit too low on the racetrack, more than that car wanted, and the fresh tires that got the rear spoiler a little bit out up from under him, and he wasn't able to save it there, and he slides through the grass. Doesn't hit anything, fortunately, and he'll come on pit road, probably get some 4 new fresh tires, and try it again.
Yeah, the leader going through 3 and 4, we've seen it multiple times. Cars are very loose. This was the first time at him being at the lead this race. Looks like he might have gone through there a little over-aggressively. It got sideways. He wasn't able to save it. He just hammered the gas to try to keep it off the wall on his competitors, and it does a lazy spin through the tri-oval grass, as doesn't look like he's going to get any damage whatsoever. No other driver is going to have any damage. As a scary moment for the leader and the rest of the field, as but pit road was open that time. It doesn't look like anybody wanted to come down pit road.
Yeah, definitely, especially fortunate for the number 9 of Ethan Lane, the number 7 of Scott Sons, that Brandon did not overcorrect and come back up the racetrack. Good job for Brandon saving that car and saving most of the field. And Ethan Lane coming off that speeding up pit road, and he goes from 5th position on the restart to in the lead again.
Led all but 3 laps. This race's pass for the lead will be due to the spin by Brandon Schmeiser. He did not come down pit road that last time. He was last on the lead lap. Didn't really have anything to lose there. We'll have to see if he comes down this time.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, the field is good to go on fuel, so especially with only a couple laps on these tires, most of these guys staying out, and we'll get another restart here shortly.
Now, I'm really surprised, even though we only managed to do a lap on these tires, the tires fall off so quickly that if I was anybody but Ethan Lane, I'd do whatever he didn't, just for the sake of, to try to give yourself some sort of advantage on him. It looks like pit road is now open this time, and obviously Brandon Schmeiser, who has flat spotted all 4 of his tires, is going to dip down pit road. Everybody else is going to stay out, however.
Yeah, very lonesome on pit road is the number 5 of Brandon Smizer at 45 miles an hour. Really, even if he sped on pit road, he wouldn't have much of a disadvantage. As he pulls the number 5 car into pit lane, he'll go ahead and raise the jack up on that car. Probably 4 tires going on the number 5 machine. Maybe some extra fuel in there as well. Obviously a fixed setup, so no adjustments can be made. And he's away from his stall.
And it looks like he gets away. Lean there, no damage. Well, he does have a little damage on the nose of his car from an earlier incident, but other than that, all 4 fenders appear to be relatively straight. Looks like he's good to go, just got loose there and spun it out. So we're going to step aside here for CFI. We'll be back for this restart. We're working lap 70 and caution number 4.
Welcome back to Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of the USRL. This is round 3 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We are currently working lap 69, getting ready for 31 laps to go. Ethan Lane has regained the lead from that last caution. The number 7 of Scott Sons is as high as he's been all race in second spot right now as we get the green.
And Ethan Lane's going to bring him down really slow. Scott Sons tried to get a jump. Ethan Lane's going to bring him very slow. Finally takes the green. Scott Sons doesn't get going. The 10 of Coney Wenzen's going to be able to follow through for the second spot. As Ethan got a huge jump over the field. He's got probably 15 car lengths now through turn 2.
A lot of problems for the number 7 of Scott Sons. He gets loose off the corner. Can he save it? He does. All kinds of problems. He started second. He's falling all the way back, and I think he just lost the 4th position. He might be 6th coming off of turn 4.
He's still trying to regroup himself through turn 4. He's going to fall to the last car on the lead lap from second spot. A very tough break for Scott. He's turn 2, as we've seen, appears to be his trouble spot. But again, for the 4th time, he makes a really good save down the backstretch.
Yeah, he will look to get around the number 60 of Calvin Troy if he can, and definitely if that was the last restart of the race, that would be a tough break for Scott, as Ethan Lane continues to be your leader.
Yeah, and on the restart, Ethan Lane brought it down very slowly, trying to get like a Kyle Busch type start. Brought it down to about 48 miles an hour when pace speed's about 55. Scott Sons on the outside got a little impatient, tried to get ahead of him, and as soon as he checked up, that was Ethan's cue to go. Scott wasn't able to get the power down as quickly as him, and it was a huge advantage just on the restart for Ethan Lane.
Yeah, Ethan has pulled out to about a 2-second lead here as Cody Wenzen continues to be your 2nd place car, but now a battle for 3rd developing as the number 8 of Eric Miller is 3rd, and Brandon Smizer, fresh off that spin, got 4 new fresh tires, now moves up into the 3rd spot. In the number 5 car, he clears the number 8 of Eric Miller.
And now the only 2 cars ahead of him is none other than the car he's raced all day of Cody Wenzen. He's got, well, the tires only have about a lap, they're about a lap newer, so that really doesn't give an advantage, but those 2 just seem to be a magnet for each other. They've stuck together all race. As further in the back, it looks like Eric Miller's going to get spun around. He backs it into the outside wall off turn 2. No other cars are involved as he stopped down the backstretch. The caution is out.
All kinds of problems there for the number 8 of Eric Miller, and it looks like he might have got loose off of turn 2. We will confirm that for you, but heavy left side damage to the number 8 of Eric Miller.
Looking at it, he was side by side with Scott Sons at the time. He was on the high side. Scott Sons, it looks like, started to slide up the hill. They were very close. And then, from my point of view, it looked like we might have had some signs of internet racing there. So it looks like he got net coded, got hit the left rear, and from then on, he was just doing his best to save it. He hits the left rear, or the right rear quarter panel against the wall. That turns the car right. He hits the nose of the car squarely onto the safer barrier and just spins down the backstretch, manages to keep it off of everyone and everything else at that point.
Yeah, it looks like he's got some heavy right rear damage and also some right front damage as the whole entire field will come down pit road, and Ethan Lane leads him down again.
Yeah, there wasn't really any track position to lose among the top 5. Those are the only cars that appear to be undamaged right now. As now we might see some strategy to try to get Ethan Lane out of the lead.
Definitely see cars pulling into their pit stalls, and it was a pretty short run. We might see some strategy. Looks like 4 tires going on all the cars. Ethan with a little bit of a slow stop. Brandon Smizer, and they get off string, and it looks like Ethan Lane just barely Clears the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser. Ethan got out of pit lane very slowly and almost lost the lead there.
It was close. All cars went for 4 tires. Looks like when they dropped the jack on Ethan Lane, it looks like he almost might have stalled it or didn't have the clutch pushed in as he should have been able to get off pit road easily in first, but very close there. He still manages to stay in first, but almost got dethroned there.
Yeah, the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser was going to be the car to beat him off of pit road. Sped in the final section on pit road, and that's a speeding penalty. And even if he would have gotten the lead there, I think he went above the speed limit in order to get there, and he will restart 6th. And tough break from the number 5, Brandon Schmeiser. And while we have some extra time, we'll send it off again. We are working lap 77 now as the cars will cross the finish line. Don't go away. Welcome back to Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of the USRL Round 3 at Las Vegas. Getting ready to get the green flag here is the number 9 of Ethan Lane. We'll lead them down. To his side is the number 10 of Cody Winton.
And Ethan Lane's going to bring him down real slow, just like last time. Going to try to get the jump on the high side as he gets going. The 10 does not. Looks like he's going to, for the 5th time, get a huge advantage going into turn 1.
The number 60 of Calvin Troy, damaged very hard in the first caution of the evening, might take the second position to Scott Sons. Spins it out, lost control, and the caution is waving.
Oh, he did everything he could to keep it off the outside wall. He thought about sticking his nose in there 3 wide. At the last second, it looks like he wanted to commit to staying behind the 10 car, and as he pulled up, looks like it might have gotten a little loose. We've seen these cars get loose on new tires. He just had 4 new tires put on. It hooks dead right. He has to turn the wheel left to keep it off the wall, and he just locked it down as it very lazily hits the outside wall. Going to have some major damage coming away as further at the end of this, looks like the 5 car of Brandon Schmeiser clipped the apron off of turn 2, and he spun it out on the apron. He barely managed not to hit anything, but it looks like we have 2 separate wrecks at the same time here.
Yeah, obviously Brandon's wreck coming away scot-free, but looks like the number 7 of Scott's Sons has got some heavy toe damage. That car is yawed out to the right a little bit. And, he'll probably come down pit road and try and get that car repaired here as we're just about ready to go inside 20 laps to go.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting case. Brandon Schmeiser goes around after the caution. You got to think that a lot of times people can get distracted once the caution is thrown. He might not have been paying attention to what was necessarily ahead of him. He clipped the apron and just went around for a lazy spin.
Yeah, that's the second time he has looped it in this event. Obviously, both of them he's come away hitting nothing but the ground, and he'll go ahead and get 4 new fresh tires in the number 5 car, and he should be back in this. As for Scott Sons, that crew has quite a lot of work to do as that toe is out.
Absolutely, and it'd be great to see if his crew can get out there at a competitive speed. He was really good later into the run. We saw when Brandon Schmeiser and Cody Wenson were going at it that after a few laps he was actually faster than those two, and a few times he was able to challenge for second. He was running in 4th on the restart. Was challenging for both 2nd and 3rd. He had a run on both of them, thought about making it 3 wide, tucked back into line, and unfortunately being cautious actually didn't pay out for him as it looped it right as he tucked back in.
Yeah, definitely a tough break, but now that we're approaching, as we are actually now inside 20 laps to go, business is picking up. Ethan Lane's been your dominant car, but this is really your last chance call for the number 60 of Calvin Troy, the 10 of Cody Winson, and even the number 8 of Eric Miller, as those guys have their final chances to possibly contend for the win. But I have a feeling as how dominant Ethan has been. I think the battle is clearly for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, but you got to give a shout out to Calvin Troy. He ran the last spot for most of the race. He was involved in the first caution between him and Brittany Grimm. He was the one who got into the wall. He's fought back between major damage, has since then just managed to just keep his car clean and not be involved in any incidents. His tires relatively clean, and that's paid off with him being all the way up to the 2nd spot, as I think he just pulled off to adjust something as he's actually rolling backwards now.
Yeah, interesting seeing what's going on there. If he can circle right around again whenever he gets back going, definitely he should be able to regain his spot. I'd be concerned and hoping that car doesn't roll onto the racetrack as he now gets it back going.
That was a very weird situation. I think he might have had to step away from his sim for a second, as like he left the car without the parking brake on and it started rolling backwards. It's a very easy way to earn yourself a disqualification, is now he's coming down pit road. So as soon as we were talking about him, he comes down pit road and pits out of the 2nd spot. He's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap now.
Yeah, and definitely either a tough break or an on-purpose call by the number 60 of Calvin Troy, but that will definitely put him in the 6th spot now, and he will have to work his way all the way back up to 2nd, if he can.
Yeah, it's certainly something I'd like to see, although you got to think that these cars further in the back have to at some point got to try something to beat Ethan Lane, and right now, in terms of having even tires and even cars, you can't necessarily do that. The only way it seems like you can is if you were to somehow get fresher tires when he doesn't. He hasn't pitted the last 2 times. So if one of these cars further in the back came down and put tires, which none of them did this last time, or actually, I should say the 5 of Brandon Schmeiser and the 7 of Scott Sons has. Scott's still probably heavily damaged. Schmeiser didn't manage to hit anything, so he actually might be the car to look at right now. He's got the freshest tires by a few laps over the entire field.
Definitely, especially when these cars get, especially on restarts, we've always seen that second spot not be able to get up to speed. It just seems like Ethan has just blown away who's ever been in second, and most of the time it has been Cody Winson, and we're definitely going to have to see if he can indeed get a good start, the number 10 of Winson, and keep up with Ethan. It's a choice, it's a chance, but doing it is a whole nother thing, and we're getting ready and set to see if that is possible.
Ethan Lane has proved time and time again today that he has been the master of these restarts. It really looks like he's queuing on the second place driver on the high side for when to go. As the pace car turns off, Ethan Lane's holding steady at 53 miles an hour. Again, the 10 ekes out a little ahead of him, and as soon as he checks up, Ethan Lane wastes no time getting the loud pedal down, and he's going to move to the lead again by over 10 car lengths as they head off into turn 1.
Huge start for the number 9 of Ethan Lane as Cody Winson still holds on to the second spot, but Eric Miller trying to hold off the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser. Eric Miller, of course, involved in that wreck earlier. That car does look like it is back up to speed. Great job by his crew, and here comes the number 60 of Calvin Troy.
Yeah, the 5 has the freshest tires as Calvin Troy gets into the side of him. He hits the wall hard coming off of turn 4. He's going to Brandon Schmeiser is going to have heavy front end damage. The caution is out again. The 60 car tried to get a run on him through 3 and 4. He was there. He started to slide up into Schmeiser. Schmeiser got sideways. He overcorrected it, hit the wall hard, coming off of turn 4, flipped violently, spun like a top through the infield. His car is severely damaged now, as the car with the freshest tires out there and the best chance to beat Ethan Lane is now done for the race.
Tough wreck for the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser, and he has to be glad this is iRacing and not real life. That would have probably been a very, very severe accident, as that car went flipping after overcorrecting hard into the turn 4 wall, and I wouldn't be surprised if that car is done for the night as heavy, severe front end damage for the number 5.
I'm just surprised, as is, that he is still managing to drive that car around. He hit the wall at well over 160 miles an hour, just dead perpendicular to it, and yet it is not smoking. Front end is destroyed, but other than that, the tires appear to be straight, as Calvin Troy, who was also involved in that wreck, appears to have pulled it off track now. So now it's going to be, well, it looks like it's going to be only between 4 cars now for the win.
A tough break for both of them. Obviously, Calvin Troy running second before he came down pit road. When he had to step away, definitely a tough break for the number 60. Looks as if he had a strong effort going, and especially on Brandon Schmeiser's part, just really an innocent victim holding his line. And you could argue both ways, but from my point and perspective, it looks as if the number 60 of Calvin Troy did come up, did grab the left rear corner panel of Brandon Schmeiser, and Brandon wasn't able to hold on to it, and overcorrected hard into the turn 4 wall. And while we have extra time here, we will go to commercials. Don't step away, you're watching the USRL on Checkered Flag Interactive.
Quick.
Welcome back to Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of the USRL. Once again, this is round 3 at Las Vegas. We are getting ready for an 11-lap shootout. Your current leader is Ethan Lane, running second, Cody Wenzen. Third is number 8 of Merrick Miller. Fourth, the number 7 of Scott Sons. And fifth place is the number 5 of Brandon Smizer, who had a very hard impact. He is still out here somehow, and we're getting ready for the green.
But up front, it's going to be 11 laps to decide it as Ethan Lane again gets a great start. Cody Wenzen isn't able to get the power down. Again, Eric Miller's going to try to dip under him for the second spot. Is going into turn 1. Ethan Lane's got about 15 car lengths over second and third. Eric Miller's going to clear them for second, as Brandon Schmeiser, who had heavy damage, is somehow managing to wheel that car. He passes Cody Wenzen for third. He's now looking at the 8 for second now, as Cody Wenzen, or Brandon Schmeiser, out of nowhere clears the 8 for second, as here comes Cody Wenzen. He's going to try to duck underneath Brandon Schmeiser for second, and they're side by side into turn 1. I don't know how the 5 is still driving.
I don't know what pit crew he's got, but he must have a pit crew that I want, because they have done a fabulous job of preparing that front end of the number 5, and he is currently battling for the second position with the number 10 of Cody Wenzen as they head into turn 3 side by side.
It's an amazing drive as Scott Sons, who was also involved in an earlier wreck, has finally not been able to manage to save it off in turn 2. He hits the wall, and he's on the apron slowly. We're staying under green here. 9 laps to go, and right now the battle is between the 5 and 10 again, as we've seen the entire night. Brandon Schmeiser is just leaving me speechless on how that car is still able to drive. He has the freshest tires among them all, too, as he's now on the outside of Cody Wenzen for the second spot. Eric Miller's going to try to get under him for third, and it now looks like the 5 might be falling back now.
Yeah, maybe the front end damage not completely repaired, and definitely might be affecting his straightaway speed, and that's what's allowing the number 8 of Eric Miller to keep up on the inside. Is you're not missing anything up for the lead, as Ethan Lane is over 2 seconds up on the second place current runner up to number 10 of Cody Wenzen, and we continue to watch the battle for third between Brandon Smizer and Eric.
And Eric Miller does give up the position going into turn 3, but as we've seen all race, he gets a run coming off of turn 4. Tries to get underneath the 5 of Schmeiser, not able to do it, and now they are single file as we take 7 to go.
Cody Wenzen in the perfect spot right now, as we mentioned before. Only had to start this race to get the point lead. He has it, and he's currently running second. If he can come away here in a second place finish, I would think it would definitely be a very solid night on his end, and that's basically what you have to do, especially when you're going for a championship, is just drive for the points. Don't drive as that as the number 8 of Eric Miller comes across, hits the wall, comes down the front stretch in the grass. He somehow hangs onto it. Great save from the number 8 of Eric Miller.
He went the entire front stretch in the grass. He has some heavy front end damage. He got into the wall coming off of turn 4, went down through the grass the entire length of the front stretch, came back up on the track, managed to save it, as now there's really only 3 cars at full speed now. Ethan Lane is checked out again. It'll take a miracle for either the 10 or the 5 to get the win now.
5 laps to go as the field crosses the start-finish line that time. Brandon Smizer was just slightly quicker than number 10 of Cody Wenzen. I don't think you'll be able to catch him, but one mistake could be costly as these two continue to be the closest battle on the racetrack.
They've been side by side all race. It would seem appropriate that they managed to finish this race side by side. Brandon Schmeizer's car somehow is running. I still don't know how. Ethan Lane's continued to check out. It's 3.5 seconds now as we're at 4 to go. Sort of a miracle only battle on track is between the 10 and the 5 as Schmeiser going through turn 2 gets right up against the wall, manages to keep off of it. He's trying to get that draft of Cody Wenzen, which, as we've seen all race, has been able to pull him right back into the action.
Yeah, see number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser trying to move up on the racetrack, trying to find every last bit of grip and speed out of that car as the laps continue to wind down. We're down to just 3 laps to go in this event.
Yeah, Ethan Lane again continues to stretch out his lead that last time, as this time by looking at lap times, Koenig Wenson was about a tenth faster than Schmeiser, as it looks like that damage is really starting to show. He can't keep it to the bottom. And as we come to get 2 to go, looks like right now there is no battle for either the lead or second place.
Ethan Lane, he's done everything perfect today, bought a speeding penalty, he came back with that nicely, re-grabbed the lead as you ride on board with Ethan Lane, just smooth sailing from this far on out. As he goes into turn 3, come around, you get the white flag this time by.
Yeah, there's absolutely no traffic in front of him. He's got a healthy lead behind him. Led 97 of 100 laps today. He has been almost flawless. The only time he lost the lead was on a pit road speeding penalty. Other than that, we've seen him be perfect on the restarts. We've seen him be perfect on the long run. And as he brings it into 3 and 4, the winner tonight, no doubt, will be Ethan Lane, driver of the number 9 Nick Del Campo Designs Chevrolet.
And he will bring it down out of turn number 4, across the finish line on the apron with style. Ethan Lane takes the victory. Coming home in second is your new point leader, the number 10 of Cody Wenzen. Third will be the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser, who somehow, after overcorrecting into the wall, finishes and gets the top 3. And then coming in fourth, the number 8 of Eric Miller, who somehow had a great save as well.
Yeah, 5th place, Scott Sons, who made 4 incredible saves off of turn 2. Really was fun to watch. Probably wasn't fun from his point of view, but it was fun to watch. Finally succumbed to the turn 2 wall, got into it, and he's going to finish the day 5th, 9 laps down. Calvin Troy, who ran as high as second today, made a great comeback, worked his way all the way up to second, and then had to retire. Brittany Grimm, who unfortunately was caught up in another early caution, she's going to come home 7th, 35 laps down.
And while Ethan Lane continues to do his celebratory burnouts, we will take a quick break. We'll be right back.
And we're back here at round 3 of the USRL Nationwide Series. Your third place finisher tonight is none other than the number 5 of Brandon Schmeiser. Brandon, we saw you in this race. You were side by side. It seemed like the majority of the race with Cody Wenson. Late in that run, you got tangled up with the 60 of Calvin Troy. You got into the turn 4 wall hard, and then somehow you managed to get that car going again and managed a third place finish.
I honestly don't even know how the car was still running after that, because from my point of view, there was so much like just Campbell's chicken noodle soup all over my visor. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah, it was very surprising that the car even managed to get back to the pits and nonetheless managed to get a third place finish. What was the racing out there like tonight? It seemed like every time you managed to get by Cody, he would get right past you again, and it was very fun to watch. But how was the racing?
It was good. It was clean. Me and him are teammates, so of course we got to race each other clean to make the sponsors happy. But other than that, it was really good. I wanted to race him hard and maybe give him a few love taps, but he'd probably yell at me or something later on back at the shop. So
absolutely. Well, you managed to squeak out a third place finish. Any sponsors you want to thank? Certainly, you got to thank your pit crew at least.
Definitely. Those guys down there that hop over the wall every week, you got to give them love. But, yeah, I want to thank my team, first of all, Dark Horse Racing. They build great cars every week for me, Cody, and Brittany. Brittany Bell Gaming Computers, Shop.com, Jamberry Nails. And Cryptocolor, who actually painted all of our cars. So just shout out to them.
Alrighty, well, that's tonight's third place finisher, Brandon Schmeiser. Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
And we're down here with the second place finisher, Cody Wenson. And Cody, obviously coming into this event, all you had to do was start the race, since our current point leader, Pedro Oliveira, did not show up. And with the second place finish tonight, you are currently the USRL's point leader. How do you feel about that?
It feels really good. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold it, because Pedro and Ethan are probably going to start giving me a run for my money pretty soon, because they're both good drivers. But it feels really good for the time being. Just being ahead in the points is a good feeling whenever.
Now, obviously, this was round 3 here at Las Vegas, and last week we had a very loose setup at Phoenix. How was today's setup?
Well, it varied. If you got in the corner right, it ran pretty good. It could get a little bit loose off, but if you didn't get in the corner right, it could get very tight very quickly.
Definitely, and is there anyone you would like to thank for your second place efforts tonight?
Well, I want to thank my team, Dark Horse Racing, for putting the car together, and my sponsors, Brittany Built Gaming Computers, Shop.com, Jamberry Nails, and Cryptocolor for the paint schemes. And I'd like to thank my friends and my family that watch the streams. They give me a lot of support, and I appreciate it.
Definitely, and congratulations on your second place finish and the point lead.
Thank you.
And now we've managed to catch up with tonight's winner, Ethan Lane. Ethan Lane, you managed to lead 97 out of 100 laps. You were pretty much flawless today on the restarts. You managed to get a huge lead even before you got to turn 1. What's your thoughts on tonight's win?
Could have went flag to flag if I didn't get that speeding penalty on pit road, which was definitely completely my fault. I get too much on the entry to make sure I was first out. Car was definitely flawless. It was pretty much perfect all race, just a little bit on the tight side. Good recovery from last week, as we got wrecked out in lap 3 and didn't really have much to show for, as I think we were getting the fastest car last week as we were this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The race, you didn't even come close to hitting another car. We saw you, when you did get that speeding penalty, you restarted 5th. Before turn 2, you were already up to 2nd, and by that lap, you were already into the lead. That really seemed to be your only threat for tonight. What was going through your mind as you started getting those long runs?
Just settle into a rhythm like normal. Those long runs, especially at Vegas, can just like get into your head, where if you get out of that rhythm and hit a bump wrong or get out of the groove wrong, you're gonna go straight up into the wall. And I almost had that happen once, as barely scraped it out of 2.
But it looks like other than that, you clearly ran a flawlessly race, as we pointed out, 97 of 100 laps led. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to? We saw you burning it down on the front stretch. I'm sure some of their names look good, obscured by smoke.
I think Napa. Also, I think CFI. I want to thank my team, Unknown Motorsports. They provide great cars every week. Any track we go to, any car we get, we win racing. Want to thank all my fans who were watching, if any of them did. And just hopefully we can do what we did this week as we go to Bristol next week.
Absolutely. Was clearly a dominant win tonight. Congratulations, Ethan.
Thank you.
And just as a friendly reminder to anybody watching this broadcast, the USRL is a league that is open to any driver that wants to join. It'll be an open session next week at Bristol. I'd like to thank my my partner, Shane Doty. Doty, what was your thoughts on tonight's race?
Well, when you come into a mile-and-a-half race, especially with a car like the Nationwide car, you usually get nice side-by-side racing and not a lot of cautions. And we saw our fair share of cautions, but we also saw some great racing up front, especially for the second position. I'd like to point out that battle between Brandon Smizer and Cody Wenzen. I thought that was just absolutely awesome to watch up here from the booth, and definitely these guys put up a great race tonight.
Absolutely. It was just a dogfight for the second position from the drop of green flag all the way to the checkered. We'd like to thank all our viewers for tonight for watching. That'll conclude tonight's broadcast of Round 3 of the USRL Nationwide Series from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next week we'll be at the high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway. Thank you for watching.